So we have a star-studded group of speakers tonight. Again, my name is Al Hibner, and basically I do home electrification as a hobby for retirement. I have 100% electrified my house. I have a geothermal heat pump system for the main heating and cooling. And I have an air source system. I mean, I've got everything, okay? And I'll be signing a contract for solar panels tomorrow. So that'll be the capstone. Bob, introduce your, oh, wait a minute, where's Katie?
She just stepped out.
Oh, okay.
She's right outside the door.
We'll get her, when she comes back in, we'll get her. Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Kanauer. I'm going to talk about air source heat pump system that I have. And we built the house, our house in '86. And I'll talk about how we insulated the house when we first built it.
Okay, and finally, but last but not least, well, Katie and then Ryan. Katie, yes.
Hi, so Katie, I'm one of the co-founders of Color Penfield Green, and I'm a super enthusiast of all of this stuff. So I just want to say that there is a sign-up sheet that is about halfway full. Yep, that Ryan's got his. If you would like to go home with your free energy kits at the end of the night, the state of New York requires a address and a name to go with those kits, just so they know that somebody's not taking dozens home and selling them on eBay. They want individuals to benefit. So please, as you're listening, if you have the time to fill that out, that'd be great. And I'll pass to the next person. Bob?
We've already talked, so it's Brian.
That's let me go again.
Nope.
We're dealing with the work.
So my name is Ryan Puckett. I'm the general manager of Wise Home Energy, contracting company that specializes in building electrification and weatherization work here in Northwest New York.
Yeah, Ryan is our guru for really the topic of this class tonight, which is weatherizing your home, getting it ready. So we're gonna do a very quick introduction to Color Penfield Green, just a couple of minutes. And what we have is a community campaign. Now, everyone should have this particular handout. If you don't, please let me know. And we'll get you, do you have one of these handouts? If not, we'll get them back to the table here. Okay, I'll put some copies on the table. One copy on the table. Good. All right, then Ryan will be taking us through the process of really preparing your home for comfort. And in this day and age with the polar vortex, seriously, that polar jet has broken down. I mean, think about blizzard warnings in New Orleans. Give me a break. That hasn't happened. Blizzard warnings in New Orleans. Okay, so Ryan will take us through making your home comfortable. That's the key. Then Bob and I will take you through our work, our case studies. We both hired Wise Home Energy to do work on our homes. So you're going to want to hear how that turned out, aren't you? Probably. Okay. And then at the end, there are 3 or 4 different action steps that you can take. The next step for you to take if you are considering making your home more comfortable, saving more of that energy that you generate for heat and cool, and directing it into your house and keeping you nice and cozy. So that's the agenda. Everybody sign up for that? Okay, all right. And with that, very quickly, if you turn to the first document on the handout I gave you, I'm going to defer to Katie, who is our premier lead in Color Penfield Green.
So we are just celebrating our 5th anniversary and Color Penfield Green, and those are the list of our projects. And those projects are really powered by the volunteers that show up, and they bring their interests and their passions, and then we dive into those things. And so those are the issues we're working on. We run classes. Our mission is to educate, and so we do that through the classes. Like, here you are. Thank you for being here. Part of our mission, but also to empower Penfield residents to become community leaders in addressing climate change. So we do a lot of advocacy work here in the town, and we would love for you to join us. We would love for all of you to join us if you have the time and capacity. So,
How many of you get the current newsletter from Color Penfield Green? Just, okay, not all of you. Okay, so just go home, scan that code. Seriously. Katie edits a newsletter once a month. It is chock-a-block full of incredible information. We're talking about regional wide climate action information and cool tips. Really, really an excellent product. I got to give it 5 stars out of 4. Okay. So by all means, it comes free in your email, right? So, all right. You want to talk about the kits a little bit?
Yes. So if you make it through the end of this class, then we will send you home with a free energy savings kit from NYSERDA, the New York
Energy Research and Development Authority.
Thank you so much. And inside you'll find 2 LED light bulbs, weather stripping, that plastic window sheeting that does an amazing job of insulating your home for 5 windows, external wall outlet insulation that's already cut to fit. So you just unscrew your outlet covers and put that on. Door sweep, surge protector, and then there's an installation guide, which I've heard mixed reviews on. Don't forget, YouTube is always a good resource for DIY. And then there's also on the top of the kits, there's a QR code to AMP to go all electric, which we'll get to later, but that is one of your potential next steps.
We just have incredible resources for you. This is your homework after class.
And you can start saving money right away.
The last thing is a commercial, but it's a good one. Color Penfield Green back in 2021. We've been doing this now for 4 years. Seriously, 4 years. We've been educating people about going all electric. The first step is what you're doing tonight to get that house ready. But at some point, you're going to be interested in some kind of heat pump, whether it's a water heater heat pump. How many of you have heat pumps now? Well, good. The folks that signed up don't. Yeah, I know, us do. But the point is, we are working with the town. We're collaborating with Penfield. And Sarah Waterman is our town sustainability engineer. She's amazing. We couldn't find a better person to work with in the town of Penfield. So together, we've established what is called a clean energy community campaign. NYSERDA is paying grant money to municipalities if they get their residents to purchase heat pump systems or electric vehicles. Big money, good money. All right, take a look. If we can get, we currently have 6 in this campaign, which started a couple months ago. We currently have 6 Penfield homes that have installed heat pumps. If we can get 4 more, $10,000. Okay, that ain't chump change. That buys a charger at the town hall or a whole bunch of trees to plant or whatever we do, gardens to plant, whatever it might be. For EVs, if we currently have 10, if we get 5 more EV purchases, not leases, EV purchases, then we get $7,500, and then it goes up from there. If you get even more, you get more money from the state for the town of Penfield to do great projects. So it's something that's near and dear to our heart. And if you know any of your friends or neighbors who live in Penfield, this campaign goes back to October 1st, 2021. What is that, 3.5 years, 3+ years? So if you know anybody, you can have them go to that link. You're going to get this PDF document emailed to you as long as you signed up here. And all the links are clickable. So just click on it and go and report your purchase. Sarah Waterman, our town sustainability engineer, will validate your purchase. And you're in the total to help us reach and make more money. Sound like a worthy cause?
And it does go to the town, not to Color Penfield Green.
Right.
So.
The money, we're just helping with the education. Okay. All right. So you can go and scan that QR code or just click on this link. So we hope that this inspires you to weatherize your home and then to install a heat pump hot water heater or a heat pump air source or ground source heat pump for your main heating and cooling. We hope that you get inspired to do that. How many of you have electric vehicles? Anybody? Cool. Okay. All right. No, you can't raise your hand. All right. So the mantra, the motto for tonight is very simple. Stop burning things. Stop making heat. Stop wasting it. Okay, that's tonight's class. Stop wasting heat. Start moving heat. The earth, the air has an unlimited source of heat. Unlimited, and it's renewable. You can go out and grab that heat and pull it through a heat pump, pull it right into your house. Done. Unlimited. Okay. With that, I'll turn it over to mine. 30 minutes.
Yes, awesome.
Dan has
One question, is this program being recorded or can it go on and so we can?
Yes.
Thanks.
So hi, everybody. This is my second time giving the presentation. I'm way over because I love this topic and I rambled on the first time. So I'm going to go quick.
First time. It's
I'm
great.
going to go quick tonight. Ask questions if they come up. There is a question session at the end. I do have some of my cards and some flyers on the back table back there. I didn't spread them out, but please do take those. I want everybody to be awesome. I hope you can all be awesome. And awesome stands for assess, weatherize, electrify, and solarize, which is the process I recommend everybody take when they're on this journey to electrify their home. Start with an assessment, then do weatherization, which we're going to be talking about tonight. Electrify your home with heat pump systems, and then install solar. It's the best order of operations that I can recommend to any of my clients. So this is the slide where I try to convince you that I'm capable of talking to you and professional about what I do. That's me. My name is Ryan Puckett. I'm the general manager and senior building analyst at Wise Home Energy. We're a locally owned contracting company based here in Rochester, New York. We have about 27 employees. We've been doing this for about 15 years now. We hope to continue to grow. And we've won a number of national Department of Energy awards in the past 5 years. So we really take this stuff seriously and like what we do. I'm also on the Building Performance Contractors Association of New York that works closely with NYSERDA to try to help steer New York State's incentives and building performance practices so we can continue with the incentives and grants that are available to homeowners to be able to make this stuff possible. And lastly, I'm a co-founder of Rochester Building Science, also Rochester BS, Rochester Beers and Sodas, and a lot of other things, but we're a bunch of people that get together. If anybody's interested, definitely reach out to me. We just talk about building electrification, best practices, and a lot of times we bring our clients to discuss with other professionals in the area. Rochester is really a mecca for building performance. So we're in a great place here. Did this last time, white slide. All right, so today's session is really about weatherization. So the objective is, for me, to explain the overview and process to improve energy efficiency in existing residential buildings. We're not talking about building new, we're talking about upgrading our existing buildings. Importance, you can minimize energy consumption through weatherization, you can reduce your carbon footprint. I got a backup real quick. I'm also, besides these things, a father of a 4-month-old daughter.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I really, I went to school, I learned about climate science and all the horrible things that are happening in our world. I got jaded and then I had a baby and now I'm really like backing on this, which is why I'm here. So I hope, that comes across in this presentation and I hope you guys feel the same. Okay, back to this. Minimize your carbon footprint, improve your comfort in your home, reduce your RG needs. Those are the things that come out of weatherizing and improving the envelope of your house. Definition of weatherization is enhancing building envelopes to reduce energy use. And then the benefits, lower bills, improved comfort, decreased carbon emission, improved indoor air quality if you do it properly, and smaller heating and cooling system requirements, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. The graphs at the bottom really show, two things. Why building electrification is so important if we're going to combat climate change, and why electrification actually makes sense here over gas heating in your homes. But I don't want to just talk about weatherization. I want to talk about really taking full control of your house. All right. So I like to, instead of use the term weatherization, I talk about home performance. And home performance is really energy efficiency, comfort, durability, health, and safety. At the bottom, those are all the things our company says that we can do, we can fix in your house. Hot and cold drafts, moisture on windows, ice dams, which happens a lot in our region, high energy bills, mold, pests. All of these can be improved through weatherizing your house. But you shouldn't just go home tonight, besides using the kits, and start weatherizing your home. Don't go blow in or add a bunch of insulation in your house. You should start with an energy assessment. Don't go to the doctor and say, I need a knee surgery. Go get his opinion, get checked out, and then maybe get the knee surgery. Right? In a typical home performance assessment or energy audit that you can have at no cost, these are the steps: initial consultation and data collection. Where's your house? What are your goals? Et cetera, et cetera. A building inspection, someone's going to come to your house and really inspect it basement to attic. Hopefully they run some different tests in your home to see how it's actually performing. And then energy usage analysis. We're going to look over your utility bills, see if you're using more electricity or gas in the summer versus in the winter. Try to identify and correlate that with what's going on in your house that they found during the assessment. And then they'll provide reports and recommendations to improve your home. Energy audits are free in New York State, pretty much. There's a small surcharge, the systems benefit charge on your RG&E bill. I think it's $1 to $2 roughly that you're paying each month. That gets funneled to the state to allow for energy and assessments in your. So take advantage of that. They're available for renters or owners. Okay, if you rent your home, you're still eligible. They're available for 1 to 4 family homes. There are also other types of energy assessments for multi-family homes, like apartment complexes. Our company doesn't get into those necessarily, but just know that that is available if you do in an apartment complex. Again, they're paid for by the systems benefit charge. And here's a pro tip for you. If you have an energy assessment with a company and you're not really happy or pleased with what they're recommending, you can get another energy assessment. Right? Don't feel like you have to go with the first person. I do think Wise Home Energy is the best. And let me talk about what we do in our energy assessments. So we provide an AI-derived house diagram. We'll walk around the house in about 5-6 minutes. We can get accurate measurements of all spaces of your home. That's my home. It took me 3 minutes and 20 seconds, roughly. Photo documentation. We like to document all of our work so we can really understand when we're back at the office what's going on in your home, and then we'll provide all of those photos to you. If we do work in your house, we'll provide all the photos of the process during the work so you can actually see that we did what we said we were going to do. I got to apologize to Bob and Al. I did assessments for them 34 years ago. We've kind of grown and developed over the years, so I didn't offer some of the stuff back then, but we do now. I did offer infrared scanning, so we're going to be running around and scanning walls to see if there are voids in your insulation in the walls or if they're not insulated at all. Same with attics, you can really tell a lot from an infrared scan, where the cold or air is coming in or hot air is leaking out.
Do you have to do this in the winter so you can?
You don't have to. It's best in the winter. It's pretty good in the summer. Fall and spring are the least ideal, but we can pair it with a blower door test and really do this type of stuff year round. Good question.
Thank you for asking.
Basement to attic inspections. So we're crawling into every nook and cranny of your house. Probably places that you guys don't go often. I don't blame you for not going there. We go there. Exterior inspections, we're walking around the total outside of the house, looking at things like ventilation on the roofs, moisture management, gutters, that type of stuff, because you really want to be able to have a durable house as well. Something unique we do is provide an indoor air quality test. It's a 30-minute sample of air quality in your home to identify things like particulate matter, chemicals, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, humidity, and temperature. We're going to check out your heating and cooling systems, run some tests on those, see how they're performing, make sure they're operating safely. Blower door tests, most important test you can possibly do in your house. If you have an energy assessment or had one and you didn't get this test because it's not required, call somebody else, get this test done. And by required, it's not required through the state programs. They're available. to everybody. But that test really checks for how drafty your entire house is, and with infrared camera or some other devices, we can walk around and pinpoint those major leaks in your home, which is really causing the discomfort and heat loss. And then finally, we're going to look at your electric service and see if it's capable of handling what you currently have or where you want to go with your home in the future. If you want to install an EV, if you want to install a heat pump system, we're going to check that out and let you know as well. All right, now it's time to weatherize. Weatherization is good year round. It's going to help you keep your house warm in the wintertime. It's going to help you keep your house cool in the summertime. Remember ABC when you're making improvements in your home. This is order of importance: attic, basement, conditioned space. So attic is the most important thing to seal up and insulate, then the basement, and then your conditioned space, which would be your walls, your windows, your doors. All right, now we're getting into air sealing. So when people think weatherization, a lot of times they think insulation. That's a big component of it, but air sealing is probably the most important thing you can do in your house. Never insulate your home before you air seal your home, because then you're digging through insulation and you have to go back and do it. Trust me, we've done it we've done it for people thousands of times because they went out. So air sealing is the process of finding and sealing any gaps, cracks, holes that allow air, moisture, contaminants, pests to enter in and out of your house. Main priority, again, A is the attic, B would be your basement, and then C is conditioned walls. Doors. This is the blower door test. I can't recall whose house this is, but this is what we set up in your front door of your home. And if you do work with us, we're going to do this at the end to make sure we achieve what we're looking for. Or if we didn't, we're going to continue to work on air sealing. So a typical home in Penfield, Rochester, is about a 20,000 square foot home. I wish 2,000 square foot home. And the air leakage is somewhere around 2,500 to 3,500. That's what you could probably expect. Older homes might be leakier, newer homes might be a little tighter. When we were done with the work here, we got it down to about 1,600. So roughly 40% reduction, which is what we're seeing in most of our projects. And the more you can reduce the air leakage, the more comfort you're going to have, the more indoor air quality you're going to have. I'll talk about ventilation later. This was a very cool project we worked on recently down in Ithaca, and we got this house down to 289, which is super, super tight.
So is this something you have to do every 5 years, like have settles in about more cracks, or you do it once?
If you're like me, you do it every 2 years. No, you can. There's going to be very minimal. You do it after you do like a major renovation in your house. Now do it once, and then if you, especially if you have an addition put on or a kitchen remodel, check your builders that you're working with by having another one that's test on. I hate to say it, but people cut corners. All right, so now just going to throw you a bunch of photos of things that we see. In terms of air sealing, these are the main things that you want to look for in your house. This is a chimney, not a brick chimney, but a chimney. Probably have one of these in your house. And that is in the attic. You can see all the nasty insulation that's around it, and you can see little gaps around the side. The gap got bigger once I pulled the insulation. It's a big hole. You can see the basement from the attic space. Wow. This insulation here, I didn't pull back. That's how I found it. Right? So you constantly have air leaking out of your house. And we see this all the time. So you seal it up with fireproof material so your house doesn't burn down, and the air's not leaking out, and you're good to go. Next, you've got plumbing penetration stuff in your attic. Again, this is stuff that you guys don't, at least I wouldn't think about until I got into this industry. Okay? But any plumbing pipes, you can see a little bit of dirt or discoloration here. Pull it back, and you can see a lot more discoloration. This fiberglass is acting like a cigarette filter. It's filtering the air that flows through it and capturing all the particles. So sealing up this hole. And probably have about 6 of these in your home. Should be done. Top plates. So these are the tops of interior walls. All top plates, it's just the 2x4 framing. You can see this pattern right here in the insulation where it's dark. When this insulation was rolled down, it was right here. Again, just air constantly leaking up in your attic space out of your home. Warm air, humid air, mold, moisture, ice damage. Air sealing is what helps that. Recessed lights are very common. Even the LED airtight recessed lights leak air. Sealing these things up. This is something that should be done. And then drop soffits. So in your bathroom, you might have this, if your ceiling is not completely flat underneath your attic, and there's little jogs. Take a look at your house tonight if you're interested. Probably have 1 or 2. Bathroom and kitchen, there's holes. If you have a 2-story home, when you walk upstairs, and you got a slope ceiling above it, and you have a little cabinet space on the 2nd floor above that, you probably have a big hole like this. And when they built the house, they put insulation here, they never air sealed it. And over time, that insulation falls down in. You've got a major spot. It's just contributing to uncomfortableness and energy loss in your house. So putting a cap over the top of it, with insulation and air sealing is good. Cantilevers are also very common in our region. You might have a cold floor. This is a cantilever here that we installed spray foam insulation. We had to kind of pull down the porch ceiling to get at it. This is very cool. This guy's room, Gary, it's right here. And his room is 25 to 26% connected to outside before we went and air sealed this. It had a bunch of fiberglass insulation stuff in here, but it was still leaking 25% of that room air to outside of the house. And we wanted it to be inside. Once we sealed it up, it's 2% connected to outside now, probably around gaps in the windows. Okay, so that was attics, cantilevers. Now we're down in the basement. Rim joists. This is the top of the foundation wall. This is a very crucial spot to seal. Pests get in here all the time. Mice get in here all the time. These gaps. This is a new build home. So the foundation looking down, there's gaps in your concrete block. Air comes in and out. This is the framing. They put a little sill seal, like foam thing down that never really works well. House settles over time, it shifts. It's a pretty big gap and another pretty big gap. So we almost always recommend going down, removing any of the fiberglass insulations in here and installing spray foam, insulating and air sealing it, controlling the humidity and moisture. And then ductwork is probably the last thing you want to look at air sealing. David Bowie's up here because he's reminding me that ductwork is under pressure, right? And when it's under pressure, it's like a garden hose. If you put your finger over the edge of it, it's squirting out water faster, harder. It's the same thing with ductwork. So sealing ductwork, especially if it's in your attic space, is super crucial in weatherization. These are just examples of a lot of the homes that we've worked on where we've done pretty comprehensive air sealing and insulation work where, you know, we start with the blower door here, we end with the blower door here. We're getting about 20 to 60% reduction. I think our average is around 35% right now. Most of the houses are working. Again, most of the time, older houses are leakier, and your houses are a little tighter, but anything 60s to 90s, getting about a 30% reduction. The tighter the house, the better. But a house needs to breathe, I've heard. Yeah, you need fresh air, but no one ever says don't tighten up an airplane too much, right? You want to be able to control the air that's coming into your house. And with that blower door test, we know how much fresh air you need to go. So the mantra is seal it tight and then ventilate right. Seal it up as much as you possibly can and then bring in the right amount of fresh air from outside. Different devices. This is an ERV. It's the most energy efficient thing you can possibly do to bring in fresh air. Bat fans can bring fresh air. And then there's other scuttles and other devices that
Ryan, can I
recommend. Yeah.
So the bath thing,
I have two.
Mhm.
It feels like the air is just whooshing right in.
Coming in.
The last few times that it's been very windy, you can hear the slapper going.
Yeah, it's common, I would say. So there should be right here a baffle
Mhm.
and, or hopefully vents out of your attic space, another baffle. Depending on where that is and high winds, you can get that flapping. The newer fans, a little bit heavier, more durable systems, or I guess the better fans, you can still buy cheap fans that have systems. But that's normal.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, now we're to insulation. Insulation is the process of keeping heat, sound, or electricity from spreading. We're talking about heat mainly, but I think everybody kind of knows what insulation is. You've got fiberglass, you've got blown in, we got cellulose, spray foam, and then rigid foam. So there's really two different types of insulation, fibrous and foam. One benefit of insulation that I always forget is when you do insulate, you probably will notice a sound difference in your house, and people really like it. Okay, so stack effect, hot air rises. So again, A is the most important thing to insulate and air seal your attic. When it rises and escapes, cold air comes in through your basement. You got this constant cycle happening in your house. So attic insulation, it might look fluffy and nice. That looks nice to anybody, but it might really not be that great. It needs to be installed properly. In our area, code requirements right now are 49. You want to have 16 inches of insulation in your attic. If you don't, you probably should look at upgrading. Some examples of some of the work that we've done. This is a spray foam attic with 6 inches, actually 4.5 inches on this one, which is enough. It's an R28, but it's also an air seal. So this is an addition or build out that these people were doing. This is blown in cellulose insulation. It's essentially chopped up newspaper, treated with the substance to keep it fire retardant and pest retardant. It's renewable, it's recyclable. It's a great product. It's relatively inexpensive. Another picture of one of my neighbor's houses with blown in cellulose. And then this is that Ithaca project that we were working on that got down to that super tight level. New build houses, if people want to do it right, they can do it correctly, right? Wall insulation, yes, a couple minutes left.
Good.
Wall insulation. So for existing homes, blown in insulation, blown in cellulose is probably the best option. You can rip all the siding off, you can build out your walls, you can make it super efficient, but cost benefit ratio somewhere is in there. So pulling off some siding, drilling some holes, fishing a tube in, blowing insulation and plugging in the holes so water or air can come in, and then putting the siding back on. We've done a couple thousand of these projects. A lot of older housing stock in this area, and a lot of houses still don't have insulation walls. You won't know that we're there, except for the super beneficial comfort that you'll feel, right? And then we found these walls weren't insulated with infrared camera. You can see the studs. After we're done with doing the work, we go back through and we can prove that we got 100%. Some additional photos of some wall insulation projects that we're working on. We work with aluminum siding, brick, really every type of siding you can do. You can block. I think I'll talk about that later. And then these are the rim joists I mentioned earlier. It's the top of your foundation wall. Insulating that with spray foam is the most beneficial. Fiberglass doesn't do a good job sealing, and it can also cause issues with moisture. And then lastly, basement crawl spaces and walls. This is spray foam, just applied directly to the block foundation wall. And this is foam board that can be applied as well. So a couple different options there. Lastly, windows. I leave them last because they're the most cost prohibitive thing to do. If you have windows that don't close or they're single pane or really old, definitely upgrade them. But they're not going to see, you're not going to see the payback on this. You're going to see aesthetic improvement. And you're going to look at them, they're going to be nice. But but you can only get a window that's really on 4 or 5 in terms of insulation, where your wall can be 10 times that effective for keeping heat in the home. The windows are good. This windows. Grants and incentives. Okay.
Don't take away.
I'm just gonna go through the first couple here. All right. So New York State offers a comfort home incentive to improve your house. This is available to everybody. $1,600 to $6,000, depending on what improvements you're making. Most people are getting around a $3,000 incentive for weatherizing their house. Minimum though guarantee is $1,600. RG&E has HIASP, HIASP program where you can get up between $2,000 and $4,000 for upgrading weatherization. You can't use these two combined. So it's one or the other. It would help you down the best path for your home. And then Empower Plus is an income-based program where I'm going to give you an example. 4 people in the house making less than $80,000 a year, you can potentially get up to $14,000 for weatherization, heating system improvements in your house. And then tax credits, which I won't steal anything here, but there's additional incentives you can use. So that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Thank you for being awesome, and take questions.
Questions?
Just in your credits. Next to that slide, the first 2, are those tax issues or are those actual cash that goes back to our check or
Yeah.
the dollar amount goes back to the home?
Yep. So these, it's a dollar amount that goes back to the homeowner. The way we structure it is we take the cost right off of the invoice and we wait for the money to come back to the contractor. So you don't have to worry about doing any paperwork yet. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, but do you keep the money or does it, and is the
It's
cost
really
less?
Yeah, it's less of a cost for you. So it'll be itemized on your invoice that you're getting this much off.
Thank you.
So Ryan, just to kind of step back in terms of the sequence of having you come out to that home. So we contact RG&E and then we get to pick that.
No, don't do that. You never want to call me. So my card's back there. You can call us directly. We're going to be talking about Amped a little bit later, which Amped is kind of an energy hub, they call them. So they're independent organization.
They're funded by New York State.
Yeah.
One of 12 designated NYSERDA energy hubs, and they're funded to the tune, nonprofit, of $12 million.
To help you
To help-
navigate this because it's complicated. And if every home is individual, has its individual problem. So yeah.
The AMP serves 9 counties, Finger Lakes region, 9 counties.
You could call them tomorrow and get a 15-minute, 30-minute consultation for free.
So they've kind of vetted contractors that they think are reputable, that they would recommend their customers or people who reach out to them go to these contractors. We are one of them. And I mentioned this earlier, I am skeptical of used car salesmen, right? If I were you, I'd be skeptical of contractors, right? So if you don't trust me or the contractor you're working with, go to Amped and they can kind of be that in-between third party that helps direct you as you go down this journey.
So we contact.
You can feel free.
You also talked about 10 or 15-minute conversations on the phone.
Yes, yeah.
I'm going to provide you with all this follow-up next step at the end of our presentation here, and you'll get it in your PowerPoint, your PDF.
I know I saw a lot about like the blow-in insulation settling over time. Is that an issue that you assume with it, or is that just something to expect, and that's sort of why it's lower cost?
Right. So in attics, it will settle over time just because of the weight of it. It compresses. So we always blow in an extra 2 inches because that's what's going to settle in a 16-inch depth. So we'll blow 18, it'll settle to 16, but you still have the right R value. And you're probably what you're hearing about is in walls back in the 70s and 80s when they first started doing this. So they weren't packing it as tight as they needed to. They weren't putting enough pressure into it. So it would settle. And we see it routinely where the top like 2 feet walls have settled down. That's not an issue anymore. Any questions for now?
Great.
Awesome.
We will have more time for questions too, so thank you. Okay, so with that, we have about 15 minutes and we're going to do a couple of quick case studies. Bob will come up, I'll do mine, and then we'll have time for more questions and off we go.
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming out tonight. I'm going to talk about our house and what energy-wise, what we're doing. From the pictures here, you can see we have an array of solar panels in the back, and our house is net zero, where we generate by solar all the power that we use to operate the home, heat and cool the home, and charge 2 electric cars. At the top, well, in the middle is the outside unit for the heat pump, and down below is the heat pump water heater. So net zero basically means that over a period of 1 year, we generate as much power as our house consumes in a year. And the way that RG&E sets up net metering is if you're generating more in a given month than you're consuming, you get a credit that follows over to the next month. And then 1 month out of the year, then they just reconcile the account. If you're over, you actually get a credit on your bill. So our typical electric bill is the electric delivery charge, the customer charge. So we pay $22 a month to RG&E. So getting into winterization, when we built the house in 1986, I did a lot of research ahead of time and talked to the contractors and requested some specific things when the house was being built, because I knew we had to go with the electric heat. The system that we put in when we built the house in 1986 was actually a heat pump. It was a York heat pump. But it wasn't a real cold climate heat pump. The technology hadn't improved the way it is now. So it was pretty efficient down to about 25 degrees. But the systems now, they're below zero and they'll operate, not as efficiently, but they'll still operate. So for minimal heat loss, in 1986, we did R28 in the walls, R50 in the attic, and I saw from one of Ryan's slides that I think that's the goal now, is to have an R50 in the attic. We use triple glazed windows. One of the things we did, we had no plumbing, electrical penetrations on any of the exterior walls, and all the heating supply and return ducts are in the interior walls. So the outside envelope is pretty much just a continuous build without any penetrations. And to add to the insulating around the band joists, around the foundation, and ours is a 2-story house. Normally, it may be insulated on the inside, but we actually had the band joists inset so they could put foam insulation between there and the outside sheathing of the house. So our solar PV system generates about 17,550 kilowatts annually. The HVAC system is a Daikin air source heat pump. We have a high efficiency air cleaner in there. And it was Wise Energy. It was actually Ryan that came out. This goes back to 2020. So it was going on 6 years. And this is the system that they installed. one of the things that they did was look at the size of the ductwork. They increased the size of the ductwork coming out of the new furnace into the feeders in the basement. So pretty much every job that they would do for systems, I would say, is customized depending on the conditions, what's going on in the house. And then after the install was complete, Ryan came back out and put little holes in the ductwork and put instrumentation in there to check the pressures to be sure it was operating as it was designed. And in, the years that were, since it was installed, night before last, it got down to -1, and it kicked on, and it was still, operating. The outside unit was still pulling that whatever small amount of warm air into the system and heat the house. So, what else can I say?
Do you have backup gas in case it gets too cold?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a backup system, like backup gas?
It does have, for the backup, it has electric backup elements in there, but I can tell by the way that it's operating. A lot of times heat pumps, they like to run, if they're variable speed, and I don't want to get too much into this because this isn't really the topic of this, but they're variable speed, so they kind of set their heating or cooling so it's like a steady state. It's not like a blast of hot air turns off, that sort of thing. So it modulates based on the intelligence of the the thermostat that's going on in the house. At the time in 2020, it qualified for a NYSERDA rebate, which was about 1/3 of the cost of the system. And it was 0% financing up to 15 years. So for this system, it's year 6, I'm paying $43 a month for this system, with no interest on it to pay it off over 15 years.
Sorry for your loss, wow.
I know. I mean, it was a deal, and it was interesting because the York heat pump, it was still operating, but I figured after 33 years, I was on borrowed time. And I figured we'll replace this in the summer, not in the dead of winter, kind of thing. So, we also have a heat pump water heater, I mentioned. We have a heat pump clothes dryer. The nice thing about the heat pump clothes dryer is you don't have that vent going to the outside. So there's one less thing that the blower door is going to identify as an air leak in the house. And of course, we have LED lighting and Energy Star appliances. So, kind of in summary, my recommendation, we don't have any gas service way out in East Penfield. So we had to build, it's an all electric home, and it can be economical, but it takes planning and time to implement upgrades, especially, for an existing home. Start with doing the winterization first. And of course, a home energy audits, the proper selection of appliances and heat pump systems will result in cost-effective solutions. And then, we talk about NYSERDA rebate programs, tax credits, and so forth. And any of the good contractors, they can point you in the right direction, or the resources that Al talked about, where you can be sure that you're getting the maximum benefit of all of these, programs. That's it.
One question.
Yes.
The slide you had up there with, showed the home, what makes a net zero home. Is that going to be part of what comes with the new?
That's part of the.
Yeah, this whole thing will.
Yeah, the whole slide.
Do you remember where you got that from?
Or Al got
No, I don't.
it. But then a Department of Energy, something or.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
sorry about that.
You have to go back to your office and remember and
I do,
search through.
I do, I just have to look that up. So we're at 8:25, we're gonna go over. We are going to go over, we're going to go over. So anybody has to leave at 8:35. We probably will go over about 5-10 minutes, is that okay?
Okay.
Does anyone have to go?
If you have to leave, no problem. So I'm just gonna try to speed it up and get through this quickly. So I've been on a journey to become all electric, 100% electric, and now I'm gonna close that journey out by adding solar panels to provide all of my electricity. I think that'll be kind of fun. So I have a blog that I write at Color Penfield Green. I would invite you to go to my All Electric Life blog and read about my journey in more depth. So very quickly, my journey is kind of convoluted. All right, I am a early adopter, and sometimes I live on the bleeding edge, not the leading edge. So I've actually done things backwards. Like Ryan said, don't insulate before you, I did. I insulated before, look at insulation doors, windows in 2006. I had Ryan come out in 2022. That's cool. It doesn't almost, it's better to do it the way we've described, but I'm getting there, right? I am getting there, okay? So that's my journey. You can read about that, and my next step is the yellow solar panels. So, all right, in terms of my house, it's a raised ranch built into a hill right here, okay? That means that out in back, the walls of the basement are above ground. They're cold, concrete block walls, okay? So the upstairs is conditioned and those walls are insulated and the attic is pretty good, although Ryan, we probably could top that up a little bit. I'll call you. But downstairs is the problem. This 700 square foot space here. It's my office, my production studio. It used to be an in-law apartment, but it's where I live most of the day. Because so much of it, the red walls are open air to the outside, ambient air, cold above ground, concrete block walls. Okay, that was my trouble spot, right, Ryan? I had to kind of warm that up a little bit, right? Now, these walls in pink are built into the ground, so they are moderated a little bit by the temperature of the ground, which averages about 50 degrees. So that's my trouble spot, utility space where my furnace, laundry, heat pump, hot water heater, that's not heated, but it's kept warm by those appliances, and then the garage is not heated. So my trouble spot was the basement office that I had. So what did I do? I got a blower door test. Did I do a good job, Ryan? Okay. When he first ran it on my house, now we're conditioning about 2,500 square feet. Actually, it's 2,200 square that's really got heat ducts and cold air returns, and it's truly heated. So it blew at 3,022 cubic feet per minute at 50 pascals pressure. Okay. That's a unit of pressure. So that's pretty common for a 1955 Penfield house, right? Pretty common. That's a little bit higher. It should be 1-to-1 ratio, as you said. Typically 1-to-1 square foot to CFM. So I'm leaky. My house is leaky. That's what he found out when he first came out. Now, after the work was done by Ryan's crew, it blew 1764. Hot damn. Okay. That's a 42% reduction. That is, I've never seen your slide like that before. So I'm spot on, right in the middle. I'm exactly what you would have expected to do for my house, pretty much, right?
A little better.
A little better. Nice job. Thank you. Okay, so if you think about weatherization and this kind of work, when you're sealing up drafty spots in your house, you're trying to reduce the air inflow. So that's measured in what we call air changes per hour. In my house, before the work was done, I had about 9 air changes every hour. Think about that. 9 times the air is being refreshed in that cubic foot volume. Afterwards, it went down to 5.24, which, Brian, is pretty good. We did.
Great for your house.
Yeah, yeah, not bad.
I mean that in a nice,
That's a little shady.
I know,
Well, it's not a passive house.
new build, right?
Yeah.
A new build home is 3 air changes.
Right.
Oh,
Right, if
But-
you got a 19.
I'm 55, 1955. The house is only 5 years younger than I am. I don't know what my air changes per hour is. Okay, so what did Ryan do and his crew? Well, if you think about an integral garage built into the side of a hill, the ceiling of the garage happens to be the floor of my kitchen, dining room, and living room. And damn, they're cold. Those floors are cold. In 1955, they actually put heat ducts and cold air returns directly in the garage, uninsulated. Come on. That's what I had here. So thank you, Ryan. You put foam around them, and then we put an additional 2-inch closed cell foam. So we've got that sealed up now. If I take the temperature of the air coming out of the duct inside the house where there's no exposure, and I look at the temperature of the air coming in from the heat duct here, it's plus or minus 1 degree. It used to be plus or minus 4 or 5 degrees. So when Ryan was out, I was actually measuring his progress by looking at the temperature at the heat duct to see if it was staying consistent. The other thing we did was put up 2 inches of that insulation right on the ceiling so that the floors are so much warmer. I almost can't tell when I'm walking barefoot between, places above the garage and places above the in-law apartment. So concrete block you saw that picture of his concrete block. It's got 60% or more of airspace in the concrete block. And I did not want to gut the entire studio downstairs. It's an in-law apartment / production studio. I was not going to take it apart and rebuild it. Just not going to do that. So the only option we really had, I couldn't put foam on the walls inside. But what Ryan's crew did is drill holes here and here, and they injected retro foam insulation into that 60% of airspace, making my downstairs much more comfortable. My studio where I spend a lot of my time during the day. And the real big difference was now I can just use my normal air source heat pump in a duct from the geothermal, and I don't need to run the additional 1,500 watt resistance electric heater. I don't need to run it as much, if at all. And that's the major difference in the savings I got, and the comfort was improved as well. So that's what he did here. And then, come on, quiz time. What's he doing here? It's a quiz. I'm a teacher. It's a quiz. What's he doing in this picture? Anybody want to tell me? Yes. Oh, no.
Oh,
Yes.
gotta put my glasses on.
Oh, okay.
He is removing the pink insulation and, foam.
So what is he foaming here? It's where the walls, where the
Interior walls.
Where the pipes come through
the
the wall.
sheetrock, it's the air. Yep. Okay. You got it. All right. So with my program, I got a $2,500 rebate from Comfort Home. Okay. That was my rebate. That was wonderful. That was excellent. And just to give you an idea, I'm a science teacher, so I measure things. All right. So in 2021, I looked at the 5 hottest days in 2021. The average temperature across 24 hours a day was 80 degrees. On average, I was using my water furnace to do the cooling in the house. I was using about 8.56 kilowatt hours per day. That's not a lot. I mean, the geothermal system is really efficient. In 2022, a year later, same data, about 80.1 degrees average 24 hours. I'm using 7.07 kilowatt hours per day. And that's before and after the weatherization. That translates to about 18% reduction in energy costs. Okay, I don't know where that fits in. Does anybody else measure this? Do other people?
Only me. Not many. Yeah. You're one of
Only Al measures this. All right, and then real quick, I'm just going to jump through here. This is an entire year's worth of data collected before the weatherization work. Then I have 2 years after. And if you look at the results, if you go across all 3 years with my system for 2,200 square feet of heating and cooling, I'm averaging $57 a month. Ain't bad. Now, if you look at the year before the weatherization, it was 65. The 2 years after the weatherization, I'm now averaging 53 a month, all year round for heating and cooling. And that translates to an 18% savings, 100% consistent with the heating, the air conditioning example I gave you in the prior slide. I rest my case. So like everybody said, you got that assessment first before you do anything. Begin to electrify your home before you insulate, before you do anything. Do as much as you can of that work. Whoops. And then begin the process of getting your heat pump quotes, etc. So, any questions for me before I talk about the final steps? And we're out of here. Yes.
Just you talk about geothermal, you're talking about building a well.
About what?
Geothermal, you're talking about putting a well.
Yes, six big, beautiful wells, 100 feet deep each.
Oh,
1,400 feet of 3/4 inch high-density polyethylene tubing, about 45 gallons of water and antifreeze solution circulating in that pump.
But we'll talk about that more next week.
Yeah.
how big is your
That's,
yard?
oh, I'm into next week already.
That's right.
How big is your lot, please?
So they drilled the 6 wells in 1,200 square feet out of 17,000. It's a typical 1/4 inch. So they just took 1,200 square feet,
Right.
6 wells, 10 feet apart. Big deal. Takes almost no space. Finally, the action steps that we want you to take tonight, or that you can take tonight, talk to this guy directly. You've got his card. Amped is that impartial source. Your tax dollars at work, a nonprofit. Amped agency is providing you with counseling and referrals to vetted vendors, recommended vendors, one of whom is that guy back there. So you can just scan, you can jump on that link and see the contractors they recommend. You can go to call them all. Call as many as you want. You just scan that, set up a meeting with them. They'll work you through the process. It's free. And if you're a do-it-yourselfer, we've got a wonderful resource. It's just to die for. Rewiring America.
Sorry.
You can go get a personal electrification planner and figure it out yourself.
Yeah,
Okay.
the toilet will plug.
They also, hey, they'll tell you what tax breaks you can qualify for. They'll tell you what incentives. So bottom line, before you go, stop making heat, stop wasting heat. start moving heat. Any questions?
I'm just assuming, but when you remove the natural gas in your house, you want to pay a connection fee?
I do.
Like that.
I have a Generac 22 kilowatt generator that's there for backup running on natural gas, so I've kept it. Katie, on the other hand, has done away with her connection fee. She has $0 on her Argini gas bill.
That's right.
Yeah, if you do have the
November
gas shut
13th.
off, even if you still have a meter, you still don't pay a connection fee or anything like that.
Katie,
We're not hooked up anymore to the street. So, if the next owners decide they want to hook it up again, it wouldn't be that hard, but we don't pay.
If you're stubborn about getting rid of gas for cooking, are there other options besides using natural gas, like setting up the propane or something like that? Or is it?
induction stoves. Electric
I've been pushing
induction
for
stove.
it, but
Yeah, or just a plain old electric stove.
Yeah,
That's what I have.
I have a friend who temporarily is, they have like 1 and 2 burner induction cooktops. And that is usually sufficient for cooking a meal at night, you know. So,
I'm fine with my wife. She wants some sort of gas oven. It's crazy. Except was the whole reason I wanted heat pump is to get rid of the gas connection to the house in general.
some
Well,
people are really.
I'll let you handle that.
Um,
Was this helpful? This class helpful to you?